demanded. My partner looked surprised at my vehemence. Don't get riled, man. I don't remember. Maybe Facebook. Uh-huh. Oh, what does that mean? You always seem to conveniently forget where you've read something whenever I want to know the source. And Facebook is not exactly the Royal Academy of Sciences. Are you saying you don't believe me, Myron? No, Henri, I can easily believe that pig of yours is at least as smart as you are. Henri, being totally immune to sarcasm, said effusively, Why, thank you, Myron. I didn't think you cared. I don't, I mumbled mostly to myself. So if Lucifer is as smart as me, does that mean I can let him wander the halls? I stared at Henri in disbelief. I always found it hard to believe that someone who showed such dexterous brain activity in detective work could be so bloody dim the rest of the time. I found it hard to believe it was anything but an act put on for his own advantage and amusement. I would not be taken in by him this time. No. But he's such a pee-wee pig, and no. And he don't make messes very often, and no. And he's well behaved with clients, and no. He looked at me between narrowed eyes and asked, Do I take this to mean you want me to keep Lucifer locked in the office? Yeah, man, you got my meaning, I smiled. You're a cold man, Myron Abramowitz. Anyone ever tell you that? Yes, my mother. Obviously a wise woman. I grinned a bit maliciously. She kicked me out of the house at 18, didn't she? How could she have been anything but wise? Aye, how indeed, mon. My operative Henri had finally cleaned up my office of his pig's mess when Melange, my secretary, called me over the intercom. Mr. Abramowitz? Yes, Melange, what is it? The Anderson sisters are here to see you, she said with a note of humor in her voice I couldn't ignore. Knowing that the Anderson sisters, whoever they might be, couldn't hear me, I asked, What's so funny, Melange? Do the ladies have two heads or something? Melange has a dark, twisted sense of humor. The more horrible the rest of the population might think something, the more her bizarre sense of humor will find something exceedingly funny about it. I remember when there was a terrible earthquake in Mexico City. We all watched it on TV, horrified at the number of dead and crushed bodies. In the middle of one grisly scene where a half-constructed building had collapsed on a group of construction workers, Melange broke out into raucous laughter. When I finally got enough of my disgust under control to ask her what the hell was so funny, she told me it was the ironic sight of a construction worker still wearing a yellow hard hat and crushed beneath a steel beam under a sign that read, For safety, always wear your hard hat on the construction site. Still laughing, she said, That hat didn't do that dude no good. Now Melange's answer to my question came almost before I was finished asking. She'd obviously been ready with a reply. Her voice came back a bit on the deadpan side. No, Mr. Abramowitz, nothing like that. I'm sure you'll have a ton of fun. Send them in, I finally said, worry suddenly setting in. I checked my calendar and found no notation for an appointment with the Anderson sisters. Probably walk-ins, I mused. What did Melange find so damn funny? I don't seem to have anyone normal working for me. They're all peculiar in one way or another. Henri Retinue and his pet pig, Melange and her perverse brain, Nazareth Pike, whom I had still not seen yet that day, thank the Maker, and his obsession with sea life. All odd. I should have thought twice before I opened my agency in Augusta, Georgia. Georgia. What does a good New York Jew have in common with the good old boys of Georgia? Absolutely nothing, and that's the problem most of the time. My family has lived in New York for 5 generations, and I was a 4th-generation cop. I'm about as much a New Yorker as you can find anywhere in the universe, so you might as well ask me why I dragged my family down to the land of cotton. Whenever some rednecks ask me that, I usually glare at the questioner and say, because we're Jews and we're used to suffering. That usually puts them off balance long enough for me to escape. To tell you the truth, the real reason that we're down here is far from mysterious. It was 9/11, that horrible dark day that forever made a target of my hometown. I lost too many friends that day to forces that neither I nor my brethren in blue could ever hope to control. Those 2 giant holes in the ground began to haunt my sleep for months. After maybe the 4th time waking up panting.